Hey, we're going to talk about eggs today, collecting eggs. We're starting to get to the point now. The days are getting longer, so we are actually getting the ramp. They are starting to ramp up again because the chickens lay based on daylight hours. So we were doing about a dozen a day now, about 2 weeks ago, and now we're up to 3 dozen a day. Um, we'll probably be around 3 dozen a day for the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe hit four. And then we'll be up to about 10 or 12 dozen a day because we have about 80 barred rock chickens that come in and are going to be ready to lay in the next month or so. But I wanted to run through with you what we do to organize all of our eggs. So during the day, we collect them. We have this milk crate, and we have these little egg flats that go in here, and they're just like this. They stack on top of each other, so it protects the eggs. Um, and so we collect them like this. This is the day before yesterday. This is yesterday's, and then this is today's. We did get exactly 30 today. We got 33 the day before, and 36 2 days before that. There are some missing because our neighbors buy eggs from us constantly, and so we just pull the nicest looking ones and sell them to them, so we don't have to like spend a lot of time cleaning them up or anything because they get pretty messy because all of our chickens are free range and they're out everywhere, and especially when it snows, it's muddy and gross. The rest we feed for ourselves, or we actually feed them to the pigs and turkeys. Really good way for us to keep our food costs down. So then, once we have them here, we're actually going to refine and organize them more. Uh, our our website that we've built that manages kind of our back end generates a random code, and we have about 100 of these, a dozen containers, and so we actually pull them out of those flats and organize them by day. So all of these have a code on top, like this one says 4AT, and this one says N8T, JW7. So each of these, we know exactly what day these were laid, and when were disposed of, what they sell for, or whether we use them here on the farm, and so we can actually track them as part of our coding system. So when you buy eggs from us, they've gone through this process. Now, with our regular program, for people who do the $25 a month subscription, they actually have one of these with a code on top, and that's how we keep track of them as well. And we just keep their dozen container full twice a week. That's a delivery. So for people who live in apartment buildings and trailer parks and things like that, we put them in these, and we know what code goes with what customer, and we track and make sure that they always have a full supply of eggs throughout the week. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. And then we store them in here. This is the other half of our pump house. There's a big water storage tank there, and some piping and pressure tank, and we use that. And then also that big pipe coming up the middle that goes down into our irrigation system. So we actually have two water systems in here, one for pressure, one for irrigation, because our wellhead is right outside the wall here. And but this room right now is about 40 degrees, so it's just right. It's like a refrigerator in here, so we keep all of our eggs. We don't wash them, so they don't need to be refrigerated. They can be fine in up to 75, 80 degrees for up to a month, because we don't wash the protective layer outside like the ones you buy at the grocery store. They've been washed and treated with chemicals and stuff, and you can't leave them out. They'll go bad. But these can sit out, even not in here. We can put them outside as long as it doesn't freeze. And but keep them a long time. But so these are our eggs, and because we have chickens of all different ages, we have all different sizes. This is a pretty big egg here. This one's even bigger. Sometimes these will actually have two yolks in them when the chickens are young and just started laying. Their system's not lined up right, and they'll actually put two yolks into an egg. Oh, that's a pretty big one right there. Um, so and then a newer one looks like this, and they're a little bit smaller. This is a new barred rock layer, these light brown ones. And those are actually free ranging out. They go in all the pens with the animals, with the goats and the pigs, and so the yolks of those are really dark. They're a dark orange because of their diet. They're just out there eating the natural things like a chicken would eat. They don't really have a lot of feed. Now these some of these other ones here, these really big ones, those are the ones that are on feed. They're inside an electric fence. Um, and so we have basically two groups of chickens that we use and collect eggs from, but they both serve a purpose. Some of them, you know, the ones, these smaller, newer ones that with really dark yolks are the ones that are out with the animals, and they keep everything clean. The pens are clean. There's never any animal feces and poop around. It actually doesn't stink, and their pens are kept nice and clean because of the chickens. So and turkeys. The turkeys also go from pen to pen and keep things cleaned up. And oh, here's a very unique egg. If you've never see all the little brown spots on there, uh, it's a little bit smaller. So this is probably one of our younger chickens. This could either be from a Rhode Island Red. We'll lay them with these spots like this sometimes. It may be one of our Wyandottes, but I'll have to look it up and see. Um, but yeah, so that's how we do our eggs. So we've already emptied this one out for the day and stuck it over here. So in the morning, we'll grab this and start filling it up from the, there's about 2-3 places where they lay eggs. And then we kind of, every once in a while, they'll put them inside the goat shelters or under a bush, but we know which ones they like to use. So we always check them. Not every day, probably every 3 or 4 days they'll lay in a weird spot, but usually they lay in the same 2 spots, and that's where we get the majority of our eggs from. So, but we do this every single day, sorting and listing eggs and coding them and keeping track of them until someone buys them or we use them here on the farm. So, kind of a longer video than I wanted to put out, but just wanted to show how we manage our egg system here. Thanks, and keep watching.